So education becomes the pill, has been then sold to us all from an early age. How you achieve in your life, how you become a leader. But that pill is not leadership. Hello and welcome to my virtual office. My name is Renata Bernardi. I am the host of the Job Hunting Podcast, and I also run live career coaching sessions every week. If you're listening to this, you're about to listen to one of these live coaching sessions, so welcome. If you're keen to participate live, you can join me on my Facebook page. That's where I run them every Thursday, 12 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. But if that's not a good time for you, it doesn't matter. They are recorded and then I post them on my Facebook page, on my website, on YouTube, on LinkedIn. There is a platform for you to follow me. So click the buttons and follow me wherever you found me. I'd love to keep in touch with you. And you can sign up to my newsletter, and I will send you a weekly newsletter with the Job Hunting Podcast of the week, articles about career, and that will help you progress in your career advancement and your job hunting pursuits. I'd love to help you, so keep in touch. Hello, we're live. Excellent. I hope you can hear me. Oh, it's great to be here, guys. I'm going to double check that I'm live as always. I always like to do that, you know that. And then I'm going to look at you in a moment. How's everyone? It's so cold in Melbourne today. I had to quickly go upstairs and get this jacket. It was either this jacket or an old jumper, and I didn't want to be live with you wearing my ISO, what we call in Australia, our ISO attire, isolation attire. It's just basically jumpers. And yeah, I'm live. Let me just share this quickly. Share. Yeah, here we go. Share now with friends, and here we go. Shared in my timeline. So I want to start today by doing a bunch of shout outs. I think it's going to be great if I do that. So I'm going to shout out, first of all, my brand new clients. You know who you are. I am so excited that you've joined such an amazing time of our lives, and I cannot wait to support my new clients with their career plans, with their job hunting, and I think I'm more excited than they are, because it's going to test all of our skills, all of our strengths, all of our abilities and tactics. And I have been preparing myself for this for a long time, for this sort of challenge. So I'm really excited. So thank you for trusting me with your career plans and to support you. And I'm really looking forward. I know you're watching. I know you're following me. And that's how you found me. So thank you so much. And also to the people that I've spoken to this week that are still considering, just the fact that you've touched base, that you're thinking about it and reflecting and thinking about how you're going to move forward and invest in your career. Kudos to you. I'm here for you. That's how you found me, and that's why I have the free content available. It's because we need to develop rapport and trust before we move forward in any sort of investment. So I'm here for you until you make up your mind. And I've never thanked my existing clients. And you know what? I think I should. I don't mention anything because, of course, this is private coaching, and I never mention the work that I do. But I can, of course, thank them, and I haven't, for being with me. These are clients, of course, that were signed up months ago, pre-COVID, are still working with me. And one of them said, "Oh, I'm so thankful that I signed up with you before all of this mess, because now we can work things through together." So yeah, it's great to have you. Thanks for having me on board, and also the Job Hunting Made Simple students. Thanks for your understanding and your patience, because I've pulled out some of the content of the Job Hunting Made Simple online course, and I'm redoing the content and reposting it this coming month of May, with more COVID-like material, things that I had there, such as networking and boardroom briefings and boardroom interviews, board style interviews. I'm revamping that and putting that kind of to the side, and revamping the video interviews and the Zoom interviews in that environment, and putting a lot of emphasis on the social leadership, the LinkedIn profiling, and the resume, and making sure that that's really what you focus on. I've always been very much of a networker and a coaching for networking, and networking has changed, and I needed to adjust the content of the course for that. But it's coming, and I'm really loving it. And I've developed a whole set of new skills. They're not new, they're just I'm forecasting that they will be perceived as high value skills to have on the top of your resume summary, on the first page of your resume. And it's probably stuff that we didn't have there before, and it's not something that you will need to work towards. You probably have already in your tool set. It's just something that we didn't think of it as a strength or the sort of experience that employers would be looking for in the future. But things have changed. And more shout outs. I've had some great collaborations recently, of course, with Dr. Fatima Khan from Agora Medical Clinic. The podcast, the 2 episodes that we've done, have been super well received. People have loved it. Thank you so much for all your wisdom and your advice that you've given. The second episode, I feel, is more for both genders than just female, especially the second half of the second episode. It's really about dealing with the anxiety of COVID and all of that. So if you haven't listened to it yet, it's the latest episode of the Job Hunting Podcast, number 27. Go anywhere and you'll find it: iTunes, Spotify, my website, and so on. Another great collaboration was with Stephanie Thiviege from Lady Boss Elite Society. We had a great chat on Instagram. I have to admit, it was my first Insta chat. I've never done that before. And it was great. So this is a live chat that we've done. I think it's still available online on the Lady Boss Elite Society live Instagram profile. So you have to go to her profile to listen to our interview. And Stephanie's from Canada. She has a great following there of amazing women, and it was good to talk about job hunting and career progression for women on that platform. I have another collaboration coming up on Monday morning, 8 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, and it's in Portuguese. So Chai, who is a Brazilian journalist, contacted me, and we will be doing that on her channel, and I will post the link of that in the show notes below, or ask Stella to add it to the comment box. I don't have the handle for her Instagram account with me at the moment, but I will definitely add after this live ends. What else? In Ticker TV, the news channel. I don't know if people know what Ticker TV is, but it's a group that left Sky News and set up Ticker TV here in Melbourne. And Aaron Young used to be an anchor for Sky News. And I'm being interviewed again on Tuesday at 2:15. I'm considering going on location. It's in Richmond. It would be nice. I've been noticing that some people have gone on location. I think it's okay. I need to check the quarantine rules, if that's an essential thing, and if I can go. I should give them a call. I'll give them a call and see if I can go there, because I really like to see. It's like a new TV, and they have like a new sort of environment, and I'd love to go and check it out. So I might just go there instead of being interviewed via Zoom, which is, I'm a bit zoomed out. I think everybody is. So thanks for Ticker TV for the opportunities. So that's really great. All my new subscribers, I think it was a combination of Fatima Khan and a few members of the private group that we have on Facebook that have been sharing stuff. But we have a lot of new subscribers to the newsletter that I have for job hunters and career enthusiasts. So if you are interested, subscribe to that. You will find the links on my website. I will post the link on the episode show notes today and comment boxes if you're on Facebook. And to the new members of the private group, we've been posting a lot and there's a lot of content there. Anytime I find good content for job hunters, be it, an exclusive kind of interesting job opportunity or news or new platforms. So there has been some new platforms developed to help the amazing number of job hunters we have around the world that has been signed for specific states in Australia, or there's a new one in the US that I've posted yesterday. Another new one in Australia of startups looking for job seekers. So anytime that I find something that I think is of value, I post there. I think it's the best place to post. And I will explain to you why. I was explaining it to my son. It's his birthday today. And he was asking me, why do you have a group on Facebook and not on LinkedIn? And I'm like, because on LinkedIn, if you're a member of a group that's public, so if people come to your public profile on your LinkedIn, they can see, and it will be a job hunting group, and people will know that you were, I'm a career coach. I coach people on how to job hunt and how to progress their careers. And I'm not sure that other people should know that my clients and my followers are doing that. Whereas on Facebook, it's way more private. First of all, Facebook is a much better platform to do things like this. It has more resources for members of the group, and there's way more flexibility and stuff that I can play around with my community in here, but it also maintains it really private. So if you're watching this video on my website or on YouTube, this is how we film it. We film it live on Facebook every week, and then I post it on my website and on YouTube, and I share it. But on Facebook, I also have a private Facebook group, and after this live goes live, I pop into the Facebook group and I have more of a private chat with whoever is there. If I have some market intelligence, I share only with them. Why? Because it gives them a competitive advantage. And I think if people have made the effort to join a private group, and if they're really actively job hunting or really interested in developing their careers to the point that they signed up to that private group, I need to give them something special, and that's what I do. So the juicy stuff is in there, just so you know. Okay, so today we're going to talk about education, because all of a sudden, of course, there is a whole bunch of stuff that we can do and study and learn from all of a sudden popping up everywhere. And I'm sure you've seen it. Before I move on to talk about those opportunities and what they mean to you and how you can sort of navigate that, I want to start by kind of framing what it is that I do, because my advice will be done under that framework, right? I will give that advice under that framework, because my coaching is focused on professionals that are working in the corporate, public, and the nonprofit sectors. So these are professionals that can navigate those sectors. They can, move jobs within those three sectors. For example, you could be an HR partner, you could be a finance controller, you could be an IT professional, you could be a change manager, project manager, a general manager, a COO, a CFO, a CEO, and you can navigate those three sectors. You could work for a bank, you could work for an energy company, you could work for a government department, a city council, and that's very common for professionals to navigate those sectors. They might have a preference for a specific industry or sector and prefer to work for one sector or another. But sometimes sectors struggle, they disappear. um, during the COVID era now, we're watching hospitality disappear, we're watching entertainment disappear, we're watching airlines and cruise lines disappear. And in addition to all the amazing pilots and stewardess and all of those people that I normally wouldn't serve, you also have HR managers, finance managers, general managers that need to find another sector to work for. That's my cup of tea. Those are the sort of professionals that I'm usually servicing. I also focus on clients and a fellowship in the community of people that have 7+ years of work experience. So people that have developed some experience already in the corporate sector or whatever sector. But usually they would be between 30+ to 50+. So my clients are from in their 30s all the way to mid 50s. I have clients currently in that very wide age bracket. And both in private coaching and in the Job Hunting Made Simple online course. And it's really about your appetite for your investment and how much you think you can spend. So that's basically what differentiates somebody that invests in private, tailored one-on-one coaching, or people that decide, no, I'll just have the online course and I will do the self-study myself. What happens to when I get a very senior client, let's say a client that is 300K plus client, I would probably get I would act as a trusted advisor and a broker to that client, and I would put together a team. So a client that has a package that includes shares, that includes bonuses, performance bonuses, and is, in that C-level space, needs potentially a lawyer to support them coming in and out of an organization, potentially some sort of PR if there is an issue there as they leave an organization, or even as they come in. Or it could be that the type of coaching requires not just the job hunting and the career planning and progression, which is my expertise, but an additional leadership coaching that I need to get a colleague to support me with. And I have a range of colleagues that, I have my favorites, but I have a range of people that I can very quickly get on a call and support me with that kind of clientele. So that's usually how I work. So what happens to that type of client, and I've been working with that group for a long, long time, let me tell you, is that whenever there is a crisis in their career, generally, and I'm talking generally and everything is average, right? Because I don't know any of you but individually or your particular case, they tend to fall back into education as a crutch. Okay, just lost my job, I need to do a master's degree. Just lost my job, might as well do the advanced SAP training. Just lost my job, I need to do a black belt on something. So education becomes like the pill that will solve whatever career situation that they have found themselves in. And education has been then sold to us all from an early age as how you achieve in your life, how you become a leader. But that pill is not leadership. That is a romantic notion of leadership. It's a romantic notion of achievement and success. That you will go and do your MBA, and once you do your MBA, your problems will be solved and you will get a great job and Bob's your uncle. I have seen so many people invest years of their lives and $100,000 to $200,000 and not get to where they thought that they belonged. And we will talk about that and unpack that a little bit more. And you probably have examples of that. So we will look into that a little bit more. So I want to take a step back and reflect and think, am I falling into this educational path to buy myself some time because I feel lost? Am I getting into this educational path because I'm postponing the inevitable, which is a very uncomfortable situation of having to sell myself to the job market? I hate doing that. So many people hate doing that, and it is an awkward situation to be in. My first 2-3 podcasts of the Job Hunting Podcast are exactly about that. So I urge you to go back and look into that. So that's really how I started the Job Hunting Podcast. So look at those first episodes. They're still, my microphone wasn't the best. And of course, it was, my first episode. So they're not perfect. But gosh, the content is still trending super well. So people still love downloading them. So go back and listen to that. And the other thought that I want you to consider is it is an expensive and time-consuming way to figure things out for you. So before you go down that path, think this thing through, and I will get to that point of how you should do that. So last night I was watching telly and I read or I watched, I can't remember which one it was, but this young woman who was getting money out of her superannuation. In Australia, you're allowed to do that now. You can take up to $20,000 to invest in education. And I felt so worried for her because she is relatively young, and I worry that she is going to spend a lot of money in her education, and I wonder if that's going to pay off. I also wonder if she knows that there are so many free opportunities available in Australia, because she's based in Australia at the moment, and they are certifications that you can do that are free of charge, that you can do at TAFE level and even at university level. So it would be great if she could, contact a coach or an advisor to support her in making those choices and making those important career plans before stepping into and buying that time and postponing the inevitable, which is, finding a job and so on. Again, I'm using this as an example. I don't know the personal situation there. The other thing is that formal education is not always the best way of learning a specific skill, and definitely not the only way. So as you look at your skill set and your strengths and your work experience thus far, and analyze what sort of experience the job market will be seeking for your sector, your expertise, or the sector you want to move into, is formal education the best place to go? Or can you learn that some other way? So that's what we're going to continue to unpack now. I wanted to include in this discussion this wonderful Netflix documentary that everybody is watching called The Last Dance. But if you're not watching it, don't feel bad. I will make sure you understand what I'm talking about anyway. But The Last Dance is about a basketball team, the Chicago Bulls, in the 80s and 90s, when Michael Jordan was a superstar, and we have other players as well, like Scott Pippen. So I wanted to talk about The Last Dance. The reason why is, I just love that documentary so much. And it gives me the personas of different types of people to talk about different types of learning styles. right? So this is what I wanted to say, learning styles. Let's talk about Michael Jordan first. Great, wonderful player, but needed to learn how to become a team player, right? So if you've been following the 4 episodes, or I think 4 or 6 episodes so far, he was a great player, but like a solo player, and slowly through working with a different coach, learned how to become a team player. Michael is very coachable, understands that partnership with a coach, and if anything, he's probably there's an over-reliance of him on coaching. And I would say that carries on to education as well. So I'm using that as equivalent, coaching, education. Scott Pippen, great player, very resilient, come from a, difficult background, became really resilient, and from that resiliency from an early childhood became quite self-sufficient, and by becoming self-sufficient also didn't ask for help to get things done, because he had to learn how to do things on his own. And when he signed his contract, probably didn't get the coaching and the help that he needed, signed a terrible contract, got paid 10 times less than he deserved for a decade. Like, so many times I see this and it just upsets me so much. And the times that I have helped clients get better salary packages are the times that makes me more excited, because I know that they have seen the investment and how wonderful it was to invest 10% of what they're getting that year or in the next 2 years, just by signing a better salary package for them. Great player, no negotiation skills. Think about the sort of learning that would happen from formal education. Probably none. He would learn a lot from getting a coach or from getting a mentor, somebody to help him in that sense, but not formal education as such. Now, the other guy whose name I forgot again, Emily will remember, was his own man. Great player, self-educated, self-development, self-study. You can see him on the documentary sitting down, watching TV, watching other teams play and taking notes and making sure that he is going to be the best player he can be by self-educating. He doesn't need anybody to tell him what to do. He observes, and that he uses what we call vicarious learning, by observing and learning from that. He can learn from observing and can do self-learning really well. Some people can't cope, it's quite lonely, but for some people it's really empowering. And I think for him, because he's such a unique, creative individual, it really helps him become the person that he is. Dennis Rodman, Emily, thank you very much. So that person doesn't need to invest in education. That person probably doesn't even need to invest in coaching. There is that amazing power from within that comes from Dennis Rodman. I was really impressed with him. There was, in one episode, he mentions Madonna, because they had a love affair, or they were partners for a while, and he mentions how she helped him become himself, come out of his shell. So there was a bit of mentoring there, which I thought was really interesting, because they are really similar in the way that they are very unique and very out there and empowered individuals. So that was really great. So what I'm trying to say here is that different great players, and you are all great players, have different styles of learning and have different needs as well. They can all play in the best basketball team in the world, but that doesn't mean that they all can follow the same path and that they all need the same style of education to get to where they are. Their flaws are different, their strengths are different. So they need different types of strategies and tactics to get the better out of them. So I would reflect upon that if I were you and think about what is your plan. Now let's move into the corporate world and I will give you a few examples. When I was the career manager in the Monash MBA, one day I was asked to come out because somebody was there hoping to speak to somebody about enrolling in the MBA. And it was a lovely young man in his early 30s who had a great smile, great attitude, had a great undergraduate degree and some work experience. But he was, in my view, willing to enroll in an MBA for all the wrong reasons. He said, I can't get a job anywhere. I go to interviews because I have a great resume and nobody hires me. And I got so distracted when I first saw him because when we met, he gave me his hand for a handshake, and the handshake was horrible. And look, this is a pre-COVID problem. It's probably not a problem that we will have now. But back in 2007, 2008, this was a big, big problem, right? So I listened and I gave him all of the information, when the enrollments were going to happen, how much it was going to cost, and the sort of people that came on board, and how much of a fit he was for the program, which was true. But I could not help myself and I had to tell him. And I said, look, and you will be a great MBA student, but I need to tell you something that I think can make a difference. And because you have a few months, I want you to test this. And if it doesn't work, you come back and you enroll and do your MBA. But let's practice a different handshake. So we did. And it was awkward and embarrassing for him. But look, he's not my friend. I'm not his friend. He doesn't have to see me ever again. And we did that. And I explained to him and I gave him some tips. And I explained the power of body language and what it meant. And I explained to him everything else about your body language fits, everything else about your communication style fits. But let's practice this. And I never saw him again. I am hoping it worked. I was there for another year and a half and he didn't enroll. But I think those little things are really important for us to work through. And that's important for you to understand, that you can have the best education, but if you don't have the emotional intelligence or the social understanding, or the ability to communicate well in a interview setting and control your nerves, or write a good resume and a cover letter to match, nobody's going to hire you. Or they may, but your career progression will eventually hit a plateau and you will need to get some help. You know, it could be a coach or it could be somebody that you trust that will have to come in and support you. Another example, completely different, as to why you should invest in education. And this is a podcast interview with Paul Burrows, and he was made redundant from BHP. It's in the podcast. Go have a listen. And he had time to think about what to do next. And Paul always loved finance. And that was a strength for him. And he decided that he wanted to do that for a living, as a profession. Now, you cannot be a financial planner, a financial analyst, a financial advisor if you don't have the certifications, the formal education. It's not allowed, right? You have to do that. So he had a goal, he had the strengths to match, and he had a purpose. He went along and developed a plan of action. He could not achieve that goal if he didn't have that certification to allow him to get the job that he wanted to get. So he had to do that education. That it was a piece of the puzzle that was missing for him to achieve his career ambition. And the good thing about that is his ambition matched his strength. And I think that that's also very good. Somebody that has a good understanding of self, a good understanding of what they're good at and they're not so good at. And instead of trying to bring up their weaknesses to match, to say, oh, I'm not so good at writing, I might as well do a writing course while I don't have a job. No. He went and said, okay, I'm good at this. I can see that I'm very good at managing my finance. I love giving people advice. I might as well study this and do this for a living. So he changed his career 180 completely. That's not what he did at all at BHP. But he ended up being just as successful in his second career, which I think was great. So that was a really important education piece of the puzzle that was missing for him. One third example that I want to give before we go into the planning phase is the excessive professional development that can happen when you are in this career crossroad and in between jobs. So for example, if you are in between jobs and you're an SAP user and you decide, I might as well, since I'm here, do an additional SAP course, or you are following the belts and you decide you want to be the black belt, you're a brown belt, those sort of things to do with project management. I don't even know anymore. You have to consider the return on your investment for that. Will that extra bit of study that can take 6 months and will cost you $10,000, I'm just, making a assumption here, would that get you the job that you want? And sometimes people don't put those things in writing and they don't analyze that. And I want you to do that every time. Look at position descriptions of the jobs that you want and see if that additional piece of information in your resume will get you the job that you want. And I have a feeling many times it won't. You know what they say about the 20%, 80%, where you put your effort. And I think that it would be one of those cases where you're just putting a lot of effort for, reduced returns. And you have to be very careful with the return on your investment, especially at a time when you are unemployed. I often tell people that the best time to do professional development is when you are employed. Every time I've done expensive professional development was when I was employed. And that is a great time to do it. You can either pay it yourself because you have the funding, but most importantly, you can negotiate with your employer and see if they can help you pay for it. And that's the best way, really, to do that AICD course, which is the director's course here in Australia, which is really expensive and, in my view, also something that definitely you should consider postponing, and several other programs that are great for leadership development, management of teams, management of projects, and so on, but not so much to get you your next job, right? So what it is that works for you to get your next job? First of all, it works to have a great career plan. It works to have an end goal. Where is it that you want to go? Because when you open Seek.com and LinkedIn Jobs or any job marketplace platform out there, you will have a smorgasbord of opportunities, and it will completely completely overwhelm you, and you will feel like you have to apply for 10 jobs because they all suit you. You can fit, some of the criteria or most of the criteria. And it will be really difficult for you to choose what to do, or you might do 10 applications and do all of them low quality because it's too much, and then you're not going to be called for any job interviews. All of the things that I listen to every single week here on these social media platforms or through my clients. So by having an end goal all the way out into the horizon, okay, and knowing where you want to go makes your decisions tomorrow and today much easier to take. And it is less overwhelming, less stressful, more empowering. You know where you want to go. I really strongly believe in making long-term plans for your career. And when I say career, of course, it ends up being about your life and your personal life, your family life, and so on. And crystallizing that vision, you will hear me talk about this in some of the recent episodes of the Job Hunting Podcast, especially the one with Gleb Tsibursky. But all of them, really, I talk about this all the time. And then once you have that goal and you crystallize that image in your mind, you can start developing a plan to get there. And the plan becomes much more achievable, because if the goal is 20 years from now, 30 years from now, depending on how old you are, then you have all that time to reach it. Then what is it that you need to do this week, next week, this year? You can pace yourself, you can be kind to yourself, you can be much more efficient with your time, and gradually build yourself towards that goal. Set yourself smaller stepping stones along the way, but definitely it will be much easier for you to understand what you need to do on a day-by-day basis, and not trying to achieve too much tomorrow or too much next month. So consider that. Figure out what you need to do. Consider the return on the investment that you're making, the diminishing returns on the investment that you are doing. If you already have a lot of experience and some professional education done in that topic, is it worth to do yet another program? And put your money where your mouth is. Make sure that you are developing a program, a career plan, and a professional development solution that is purposeful and that will lead you to your preferred future. That's what I want for you. I want you to achieve all of your goals and become very successful in your own way, be it in a Michael Jordan way, a Scott Pippen way, or a Dennis Rodman way. So I hope you enjoyed this session, and I'm sorry that the volume was a bit yicky at the beginning. I hope it didn't stop you from listening all the shout outs to the wonderful people that I spoke about before. I do look at comments, so even if you're not listening right now, but if you're listening later on, you can leave comments below and I will look at them later on. And if you have questions, I will try to answer them. And after this live Facebook session, we will post this on YouTube and on my website. So if you find this on the website or wherever you find this, know that you can come to the website and sign up to the newsletter and participate next time. I'd love to see you here next time and get you more involved with the community. Bye for now. For those who are on the private Facebook group, I will take a break, drink some water, and I will see you in 10 minutes to share with you a little bit of information about recruiters, recent redundancy news, recent job opportunity news, and what I have coming up in the next job hunting episodes and the speakers, the interviews that we're going to have in the next 3 to 4 weeks. Happy to talk to you privately in a few minutes. Bye for now, everyone. This has been a long one. Bye. I hope you enjoyed the content this week. Remember, there is more content out there. Just find me and listen to the Job Hunting Podcast as well. I have one episode every week, and there has been quite a lot of great content and great interviews in the past few weeks, so I hope that you enjoy that as well. Don't forget to subscribe to my newsletter and to follow me wherever you found this video. I'd love to keep in touch with you. Ciao for now.